Welcome back to the Lockout Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, coach and captain of the Young and the Gold. I'm here with Hawko.
That's right. I'm Hawko, manager of the Dark Brotherhood, not Hawko I am this week. So
yes, yeah, no Groot, no Hawko, no Yoda.
Yeah, exactly.
Just actual Hawko.
But Ryan down the other end, mate?
Yeah. Would that be on the far left?
Far right.
Far right.
Far out, Jesus. You've got the leader of Greater Western Richmond over here, the best club on the pod.
There we go. Do you know what? I'll allow it.
Croxton, do you have anything to say? No.
I'm a little bitch. Anyway, he's not here. Unfortunately, he's taking too many hits to the head. And talking about Collingwood was just a little too much.
Yeah.
So we gave him the night off.
We gave him the night off.
Yeah. Just because we don't want him to get more of a headache.
Yeah.
But it's us here. Get straight into it.
Yeah.
Into their preview review.
We're here with Collingwood, taking a look at what? Almost premiership, last premiership.
More about a Lollingwood. Again.
Oh, jeez, okay.
That's the worst joke you've ever made.
But we are looking at Collingwood and some of the players and
what
who
can we say
at.
about Collingwood really? So like you said, premiership nearly the year before. And then we're walking definite dip in performance.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think they have the team.
No.
Like realistically, they have Dacos, who's probably top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Has to be. And everywhere else is Darcy Moore as a captain didn't look good. Their forward line had Myercheck, who was out half the season. They just didn't have any run anywhere.
Like they had Bobby Hill and stuff, and like that was good. But you look at it and you go, okay, a bit of a tough year.
Yeah, but they got those kind of players. But how many times this year was Dacos shut down? More than ever.
He was,
more than ever.
He was tagged a lot.
And it wasn't that shows that they don't have enough legs, I suppose, players to assist him. They've got the players of yesteryear.
Well, they didn't have like Degoe and stuff.
He still played a fair amount of games.
But bit average.
No, true.
It wasn't the midfield marvel that they need him to be.
No.
Well, Josh Dacos, the other brother,
Josh
had his best season.
Our best season ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of the wrap up of Collingwood. We won't go too much into it though.
And that's what we're going to end the podcast.
Geez.
Oh no. No, let's take it back to the start. So obviously we like to talk about some ins and outs.
Well, let's
Collingwood, they made some moves.
They needed to though. That's the whole thing. They needed to. So let's go from the top. You got Tim Membry, which will shore up that forward line, I think.
Just gives him another option.
Yeah. Well, if he plays anything like he did last year.
Yeah, he had a great year.
He did. He had a great year last year. You got Harry Perryman, who's come over from the Giants.
Huge move.
Pick up. And then the other massive off-season move that I know we've said that a lot, you got Rioli and Baker and whatnot, but
this was actually massive.
Dan Houston, top 6 defender probably in the league, has come over from the Power. And I think he's just going to shore up that back line like no one's business.
It's going to be really interesting. I think from a Collingwood football standpoint,
how he plays,
he's going to improve. But I think from a Dan Houston standpoint, I don't necessarily think that he's going to carry to the heights that he previously.
Well, let's say we'll be able to say if you change your mind, you might change your mind, or you might when we do our little boom breakout.
Yeah,
we'll
get to that, won't we?
But yeah, look out. So you got Aiden Begg, Jack Bytel, Ashley Johnson, Nathan Kruger, and Oleg Markov all got delisted. So they've all played small roles in that team, but obviously it wasn't enough to shore them up as a permanent move. Joe Richards
Off to Port Adelaide.
Went to the Power and had a little pretty decent run
he did.
before he got hurt. You picked him up, right, for a bit?
Yeah, I did.
And then obviously, as we've mentioned in our last one with the Suns, Nick Croxton's favourite player, John Noble.
Mr. Noble himself.
Off to the Suns.
The Suns, yeah. So good ins, a lot of outs.
I think they covered it all.
I still think they covered it.
But they also re-rookied, what's his name? Ash Johnson, which I think is just
ridiculous.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have it anything. Not on my to mention list. All right, so top player for Collingwood last year. Who have we got?
I mean,
it has to be one person.
Yeah, it has to be Dacos. Nick Dacos. If you didn't go Nick Dacos, then this is another one of those you've hit your head moments.
Yeah.
I
mean, you might call it a Croxton.
May as well call that Croxton, yeah.
I mean, as much as we said he did get shut down more than he ever has, he's still, 21 years old, which is still crazy. He had 12 games over 100. He had a 157. Wasn't in the final round though, so he was starting to find his groove. Down 93k, I think it was.
Yep.
So not too bad, but I mean,
realistically, when you start at 900k,
yeah,
like to go down 93k is not that bad.
he just needs some more assistance, which we've already stated, just to help him out a bit more, and he'll go even further, I think, this year. So,
do you think he's going to go even further?
I think he can improve. Can you see him going down? Can you?
I just don't know. I think that the addition of like a Perryman to the midfield will take some attention off, but people knew to get on top of him, you just bodied him into the ground. He's a smaller guy.
But what I mean is more like Perryman and Houston will be the ones that will, if they see Dacos getting bullied, they'll be able to step up. Where
I don't think
Dacos got bullied last year, no one was able to be like.
You can't stop someone just putting someone on him just to be all over him and just apply physical pressure. You can't stop that.
No.
You can go and add help, but guess what? Let's say you do that to who? The Bulldogs, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say, okay, Tom Liberatore goes over to Dacos, puts his arm around him and goes, "You're mine tonight."
Flipper does that.
A Perryman's going to come over to him and go, "No, get off." Well, guess what? You've just let Treloar run 25 metres and kick 3 goals.
That might be what you have to do if you got to get Dacos loose.
But are you willing to give up 3 goals to?
Not against some teams like Bulldogs. I wouldn't, because they can bang that out
Give me
instantly.
an example of someone you would do it with.
Richmond.
Well, Richmond's probably a good shout.
North Melbourne probably.
I mean, if it was me,
Adelaide,
I'd just put Luke Parker or someone on him.
Sydney, I would, because they are also just quick off the ball as well.
There's very few options.
There's
for
not many.
a really
There's not
top
as many
player.
as you think. Yeah.
Do we think he's going to do quite well this year, though? He's 1.07 million.
I think he'll do well because
I think he'll get
he
to
will
that.
have another year stronger. It's whether or not this he got the plantar fascia injury, so
Which we've only just obviously learned, and obviously you guys are learning about it now if you've already selected your team. But plantar fasciitis,
it doesn't really go away.
it can be a few weeks, but it can be a few months as well. So who knows what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's enough talking about the top player from last year. Who have you got for underperformer, bust of last year?
I mean, for me, it's Jordan De Goey.
Oh,
Yeah, I just think this is a guy that had every opportunity to kind of go in there, get 30, kick a goal or two, and just be that guy in the midfield. But he couldn't put it together. Didn't end up doing it. How much was he down? I think he finished down money as well. Where are we? Jordan De Goey. Yeah, down 69k.
it's not too bad.
I just, don't like his game. Don't like what he's done. Don't like him.
Oh, jeez. Ryan, you got anywhere you want me to go?
Tom Mitchell.
Oh, Mr. Sub himself, professional sub. Yeah, professional sub, Tom Mitchell.
Yeah, all right. So just Tom Mitchell. All right, well, I've gone Pendles.
How?
Second lowest average in his 20 years. Again, he's been playing 20 years, but I mean, to be that consistent over that long, eventually he's going to start to break down, and he did.
Yeah, slowly. Yeah.
He hasn't been obviously a top fantasy option for the last couple of years, but still, as a former captain of the club, I mean, I thought it was, I wouldn't go far as to say a disgrace how he played last year, but it just, he didn't look like he looked tired. Of 20 years to 20 years, finally looked like it caught up to him. But anyway, though, I'm just joking. Pendles didn't look that bad. It's honestly, I think Darcy Moore was probably, as his first year as captain, probably played as worse as you can.
First year as captain?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was his first year as captain this year.
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, he did not look good. Mad regression from him.
He just had, as I'd like to say, absolute mare.
Second
Absolute
worst
mare.
average of all time.
It was just
Equal second worst.
poor. Now, obviously, we're not Magpies fans, none of us are, but I'd love to hear what any Magpies fans would think. He just showed no heart in playing at all. Looked lost, gave up easy marks, gave up goals, gave up everything.
He didn't look like himself.
No, he really didn't. And I don't know if it was the pressure or what, but look, he was down 15 points on his average from a normal, top 3 defender, that not in fantasy, but considered a top 3 defender in the league, down 200k.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So it's just, that's too much of a dip for a captain to have. But that's me anyway.
Too easy.
All right. Boom.
Boom plays. Look, it's really hard because you could go in two directions. I kind of think I went down Ryan's route in a younger player that seemed to put some money together and start to break out a little bit. Boom. Charlie Dean.
Really?
Yeah, it was a good pick for a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay.
Provided a lot of options in that defence when people like Zach Reed got injured. Like there was a lot of carnage in that kind of position. You had Zach Williams, who didn't really do well for Carlton, and people had him at a D6 when you could have gone to someone like a Charlie Dean.
Yeah.
And he put some cash on his head. So I think Charlie Dean, for me, went up 186K.
That's enough, yeah. That's more than enough, yeah.
Got us to the next one. The other person for me looks at maybe someone like a Darcy Cameron, who established himself as the ruck. Didn't really need a lot of support, but wasn't someone, when you look at the rucks, he didn't score 115s like Jerry and Marshall.
Well, that was the thing. Look, and no hate from Collingwood fans here, but you didn't really have a boom player. You were all surrounded by either really two young players or two old players. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to gauge on what's going to happen. And I also had Darcy Cameron. He might not have boomed in our so-called regards of money and average and whatnot, but it is best season to date. Also played the whole season, which is always good to get under your belt finally. Not quite on the elite level, obviously, as what Tim English and your other key 5 to 10 rucks. But 11 games over 100 still solid enough to have a good season.
Yeah. And if you had him in draft, you'd be pretty happy with the result.
Yeah, 100%.
So I like it.
I had this rookie at the start of the season, Joe Richards. So off the port, obviously, but played. Yeah,
nice.
He played 9 games, but average of 51, which is not bad for a rookie. But I think he's going to do some wonders next couple of years.
Which he kind of, for us.
But does he get a game?
That's I don't know if he gets a game. I don't know. Power. Yeah.
I don't know if he gets a game.
I think he's going to get more games than he played at Collingwood.
Well, the reason why he only played 9 games was he got injured.
He did.
He probably would have played more games. Anyway, breakout for this year for the Magpies.
Breakout for me. I think it's Perryman's season to just go bananas.
Oi, okay. New player coming in.
I think he comes in priced at 74, so dirt cheap. Midfield-wise, Pies need all the support they can get. He's not going to have moved from GWS to play halfback.
No.
And they brought in Dan Houston to take that role. So I think Perryman goes into the middle, and I would not be surprised if he put 15 to 20 points on his head.
Yeah, wow.
So for me, breakout.
I was tossing up between two. I've gone both your new recruits, Perryman and Houston. I don't know about 15 to 20 points. I've got them both averaging at least going up 8 to 12 points roughly, easily. But, if you've gone Perryman, I'll go Houston. I just think maybe off that back halfback flank, I should say. See how he goes. But I think easily he could get to that 100 mark finally as a defender.
Well, I think if you think about what's his name, Houston, like we talked about more, obviously going down a little bit. Quainer, they might not want Quainer to have the ball as much. They might not want more.
I wouldn't.
You'd have Houston have the ball.
Well, you let Houston have the ball and then do the offshoot handball to Quainer running by.
Yeah.
And then that's how he gets the ball instead of getting stuck on the flank. Ryan, you got anyone for breakout?
Perryman for me. He's gonna put some points on top of
guys,
his average.
as we said, the ins are coming in strong for Collingwood. They've really had a good offseason.
Interesting though, he's only 4.6% owned. So,
really?
Yeah.
I think it's because
what's his
the early buys. So he's one of the teams that play in opening round, which means you get to buy
round
in
3.
the early round.
Round 3.
Which I think there's 4 teams on that buy. So people are tossing up between him, Mills, Coleman, a whole bunch of these players. So that could be contributing to it, but I think he'll probably
wait and see. Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, ultimate pick then.
See, this is hard.
Yeah.
Because if there's no issue price-wise, Dacos is going to be the absolute pick of the league.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to go up in price, and that's what I'm.
Well, this
about,
is
right?
you because you're the cash gen king over here.
Yeah, but I think he's definitely someone you want to have on your team at some point this season. He's going to take you through, but I would be interested to see how he goes in the first couple of games because, like, you're right. If he's going to get tagged by a lot of teams, yes, he's going to have some really good games, but he also could have some really bad ones like we saw last season. You know, we saw him do those 100+, and then we saw him do.
Well, did you notice in those ones he didn't do that? And you mentioned it a couple of times when we saw Dacos' scores last year. He didn't do that 1, 2, 3, 4 receive handball. Yeah. That was cut off immediately last year.
He'd do the little kick out to the wing, run around, get a handball, run back, kick it into the middle, run past, get a handball.
Couldn't do that as much last year. So
you're not going to get that off the halfback. No. You're just not.
So, look, for me, I'm going to go Houston. I think it's going to be, with how badly they suffered last year in that back line, I think he'll shore up that back line enough for him to be quite high price, but I still think he's probably worth it.
It's $964K. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, Dacos price no issue, but if you're taking price into effect, then Perriman's
Perriman.
Yeah.
I think he's a good pick. He's going to go up probably.
Is that who you have my file from? You're going to go Perriman as well?
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is the Collingwood 2025
preview, I suppose, so to say. And now
we'll look at the team. Look at the team. Team's done.
Team looks good.
Bit of taster.
Yeah, I don't know if it tastes good, or if it looks
I don't
good,
know about
but
either. Yeah, but anyway, look, new little favourite segment of mine though. We're going to do accurate ladder predictions from us this year. Anyone tuned in last year, we were not that accurate. So
you've decided to make us worse by saying be accurate.
Yeah. So where do we think Collingwood are going to end up this year? Ryan, you have 1 to 8 available and 12 available.
I'm going to go 8th in the top 8.
I see him improving. So
they finished 9th. So they've got 1 to 7. You've got 1 to 7 available, 9 and 10.
Yeah,
so it's either the same or
it's either the same or they get better. I think that they finish probably 7th. Sportsbet have them at 13.5. I think that puts them to the top of the ladder last year. So let's go 7th.
All right, Croxton is obviously not here, but I think he has.
Actually, I have his. He sent it through to me.
3rd.
This guy is 3rd.
Yeah,
he's delusional.
I don't know where. Yeah,
I don't know. 13.5 obviously has him pretty high, so he might maybe check your sports. He looked up Sportsbet.
Well, 13.5, 14 wins was 7th, 8th, 7th, 6th, and 5th place. So
I reckon the bloke's gone. That Gold Coast membership is too much. He's gone, I'm going to go Collingwood season pass.
He's on board.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's what he's done.
Well, Nick's got him 3rd. I have, even though they brought in 2 stud players, I have them regressing.
Whoa.
I know, bad probably call, but we'll see. I just don't think Nick has enough help all across the board, and I think some of those older players like DeGoey and Pendles are just going to drop off huge this year.
So where are they finishing? You've got them regressing?
I've got them 11th.
11th?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So
what the hell?
Wow. Stay tuned to where Hawthorn are going to be ranked.
Yeah. I think, look, they've got a massive fan base. They're in it usually, so we'll see how they go. But we've covered a lot of players.
They have the favourable fixture of getting to play the MCG a lot as well.
Yeah, they do. They do get to play a lot. We've covered a lot of players. We've talked about their ins and outs. Hopefully you've taken a lot of value from this. As we said, there's not a number of players knocking the lights down or the door down to get into the teams. But who are you picking in 2025? I know there's a couple of options we've gone through, whether you want to pay up or you want value.
Again, Nick would be the choice, but plantar fasciitis is a serious illness, injury, whatever.
There's not much value in Collingwood though this year. I don't see, personally.
You've got him in the top 8, so there's got to be some.
Yeah, but I don't see
from a fantasy cash
fantasy player point of view, other than Perryman and Houston. Houston, I don't think is going to make a lot of cash, but Perryman will go up a tiny bit. But yeah, from a cash gen point of view, I don't see much happening in Collingwood.
So they're probably not going to be in Ryan's team, but they might be in yours. Let us know in the comment section below. Give us a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet or dropped a review, please jump in and do that. And maybe share it with one of your mates. They might be interested in learning a little bit more about fantasy. See you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.